so often like identify as like the workhorse, which I think probably a lot of entrepreneurs do. Like you're like, oh, by example, you're the workhorse. You're the one who is putting in the most hours and you're moving this thing along. And like that's for so long, I was like, that's why I thought I needed to be so heavily involved in the operations every day, like just dumping the bins and cleaning the bins and showing what kind of like pace I wanted everyone at. And like, I was the workhorse and at the end of the day, like if you put the right people in the right roles, they're going to work hard for you. You don't have to be the one showing them exactly like how to do it. And then it was just exhausting because I had all of those other responsibilities to make sure that the business was running, but I couldn't let go of that need to be seen as that workhorse. And I was really tired, really tired. Yeah.
And it's not sustainable.
No. And I don't think I was having any sort of like, I wasn't present. So I don't even remember having very like sincere or meaningful conversations with my people because I was so tired and I was just working beside them instead of now when I'm like checking in on things or I'm like actually sitting down with our team, I'm going like, okay, I hear you and I can feel you and I'm present and I feel whole. Like I actually can vibe out a room and vibe out the like what the team needs versus just putting my head down.
So this is a really cool thing that you're bringing up, which is around how you're listening, which is such a core fundamental skill in building a business and leadership. And I think it's somewhat of a lost art. Often people are always talking about, oh, you need to be a better active listener. And I think it goes way beyond just the tactic of active listening. How does that show up for you in your team meetings? Like, what do you do before you go into a meeting? And what are some of the strategies or things that you're doing and paying attention to really hone in on that and work with your team?
Okay. So I would say, so just for context of this program, you get to work on your highest, most obvious saboteur for like a big chunk of it. So my pleaser got a lot of attention because I was working on kind of opening up and figuring out, and because I identified with it, it was like a very easy one to learn about in theory. But what shows up for me day to day are two other ones. So there's hyperachiever and stickler that I battle with every day. And those are the ones that I'm now having to use like my activate sort of practice on in the morning and go like, how are these things going to show up for me today? I have such high standards for myself. And that was why I had a hard time delegating, because I wanted to make sure everyone like would uphold these same standards for me. So when I'm going into my day, I go like, I'm going to make sure today that when I feel those things coming up and I feel like my standards are too high for myself, I'm going to start admitting that so that my team doesn't feel like I have these huge standards for them, because I don't have the same standards for them. I know that's like a bad thing to say, but like when they make a mistake or they bring a piece of work that they're really proud of to me for feedback, I'm super quick to identify what's great about it. And maybe I do offer some feedback, but it still might not be where I want it to be. I just have a hard time like communicating that. So if I can stop myself in those tracks and go, okay, this is good enough. Like, let's move it forward. Let's get to the next stage. Let's let it go. Then my team can like start doing that. I started to identify that as a problem because I think that they were really nervous to show me what they've been working on because I have very high standards for myself. And so now I'm like sitting and I listen to kind of like what they need from me in that moment. And like, I'm just a lot more aware that they see that they feel that from me.